How's it going, Twitch? My name is Skull, and on behalf of East Asia Soft, welcome to today's stream. Today, I am going to be playing the Redress of Mira, which I know nothing about. And, that's all I know. I'm playing on PlayStation 5. I think this is an upcoming game for this week. They usually have me play those early on Tuesdays, so let's go ahead and hop into it and see what kind of a game awaits us. This will be coming to PlayStation and Xbox tomorrow. Okay, so this is a 3D fantasy adventure. Huh. Well then. Photo sensitivity, epilepsy seizure warning. Okay. I wonder if this is one of those walking simulators. Sure, settings are all right. I'm gonna turn off the crosshair, actually. Make it a little more immersive. God mode, huh? That leads me to believe this is a walking simulator. I'll leave that on. If you guys want a challenge, you could get the game yourself. Or just get the game yourself. Let's go! You guys have no idea how hard it is to see a monitor when you have lights just right in your eyes.
You won't get me!
You won't get far!
Okay. Interesting. Oh boy, these kinds of games tend to give me motion sickness. I hope not this time. Might turn down the sensitivity if...
Don't come any closer or you'll meet your father!
You'll be sorry very soon, you sneaky little demon. That I swear.
Voice acting, am I right? Yeah, it's one of these kinds of games. Okay. I played quite a few of these. Oh, we're dead. That's it. The end. Goodbye, everybody. Well, this is pretty. I'm not controlling anything.
For how long fall since she forgot the musing of the wind? How many drizzle drops whispered her from ruth to furiosity? She once was afar from her opposed likeness coming to end. Among the woods, enchanted, nothing would fade her curiosity. Unexhausted upon this path, Mira was swarming with unforgiveness.
Mira, not Mira. Got it.
For she dreamed.
Well, I'm not a poet. For the record, I'm not a poet. But I don't have a clue what that was, what she just said. Can I get up here? Oh, there is a jump button. Let's go. Cannot get up there. Oh, how about here, though? Nope. That rock is not climbable. Okay. What about over here? Nope. Invisible wall. This might barely be possible. No, I think it's another invisible wall. Okay, well, in that case... we go back this way, I suppose. Nope, the camera just automatically turned me around. Huh. Some sort of carnivorous plant up there. Well, I kind of got up, but it's another invisible wall, so I'm clearly not meant to... What the? Oh! I see. It's down. This is actually kind of beautiful, and I love these little stones here. Gives a sense of history. Like, people were here once, a long time ago. I suppose I have to knock this down as well. And it just goes straight through my head? What the? What the? What? What? Why would it do that? Huh. Well, can't go up there. Can I make the jump from here to there? Is that what I'm supposed to do? Nope, invisible wall. Okay, so where am I supposed to go? Oh, grab onto that, okay. Just did it automatically. I'm going to have to just trust the game, I guess. Oh, there's some birds. Are those magpies? Oh, those are crows. Of Drizzlepath. Why do I feel like Drizzlepath sounds familiar? Can't go in there. Can't go above that. Let's see what's in chest number 1. Hello, General. Oh, that might be it, yeah. I played through a Drizzlepath game of some kind. Pick it up. Pick it up. There we go. Oh, there we go. As Mira sat down for dinner with her parents, she could tell it was going to be another somber affair. The mood in the house had been pretty depressing for a couple of days now. Her father, Henrik, was the head of their clan, and so she was not surprised to see him troubled when something bad happened. She had never seen him this worried before, though. He was barely even touching his food, even though her mother had prepared his favorite meal. Finally, she decided the silence had gone on long enough. "So I almost caught a rabbit today," she said out loud, grinning at her father. "I even got it into the sack, but Lurvin let it escape. He said it was too cute to kill." Myra was disappointed when the only response she got from her father was a small smile before he turned back to his food. Usually he was happy to talk about her day with her over dinner, especially on days when she didn't help him on the farm. However, Myra's mother was more interested in her story than her father had been. "I've told you to stop running around town with that boy," Myra's mother scowled at her. "The both of you are always getting into trouble." "Well, we didn't get into trouble this time. We didn't even chase the rabbit through anyone's farm this time," Myra replied, remembering very well her punishment a few months ago when she and Lurvin had chased a pig through a cornfield. "How many times have I told you that you are too old to still be running around with that boy?" Palin asked her daughter. "I'm not," Myra grumbled under her breath. "You're almost a woman now, Myra. You should be learning how to be a good wife, and I doubt any man would be impressed by a wife who likes to run around the farm hunting down rabbits and pigs." "Good," Myra retorted, "because I wouldn't want a man who would have a problem with a girl that is good at hunting." "Stop." Henrik stepped in before the situation could escalate. "Myra, don't talk to your mother like that. You know she's just trying to help." Myra scowled at her food. "You know it's your fault she's like this," Palin glared at her husband. "You're the one who taught her to climb trees and hunt." Henrik chuckled. "She would have learned on her own, and only the gods know what would have happened then." Seeing a smile on their father's face made Myra happy. "Yes, Mother. If Father had not taught me how to climb trees, I probably would have broken my leg or something." Palin rolled her eyes at her husband and daughter. "You still managed to get injured well enough." "Better injured than crippled," Myra replied, laughing as she defended herself. "Isn't that right, Father?" Myra trailed off when she found her father lost in thought. The table fell silent, and this jolted Henrik. He looked confused for a few seconds before giving her a small smile. Huh. Now why would Myra find... Oh, God, this camera work. Can I reduce the sensitivity? Oh, yes, I can, and I don't mind if I do. Man, okay. Oh, it's much better. Whew. Why would she find a book about her own childhood here? Big. "Hello, will you please let me by?" Thank you. Manners make all the difference. So it is a walking simulator, very similar to... Ooh, a zebra! And a lion. Well, a zebra's dead, everyone. Yep, this is very similar to Drizzle Path. I wonder if it's made by the same people. I played a few games by them. They're all walking simulators. There's nothing wrong with walking simulators, honestly. I'd rather this than the game that I played last week that made me almost lose my mind because it was so hard. There's something nice about just sitting back and relaxing and seeing the world go by. Even if it is a virtual one. And this way, my feet don't get tired. I can also appreciate that it's very linear. Oh. Hello, lion. It's a different lion than the other one. The other one was a male. This one's a female. Oh, no, it was a female the whole time. What happens if I get close? Nothing. Okay. Enjoy your meal. There's some vegan who's gonna throw a fit when they see that. Lions are carnivores, people. They need meat to survive. They can't eat plants. It's the world. Oh, there's something up there. Something moving. Is this a portal, maybe? It looks like the Nickelodeon green slime. Well, I can't get through it. Oh, here we go. Maybe. Not enough mana. Oh, there's a rabbit. Let me guess, I gotta kill the rabbit? Won't let me do it again. So I guess I did it enough. Let's check out the controls here. I don't see anything that can help me. Let's try that again. Huh? Huh? Do I need to carve a path? Okay, and then? There's something about what's going on over there, but... Oh, I've got to highlight it and then leave. Something like that. Hey, we got the save icon. They 3D printed it's a floppy disk. Okay, there's another portal, so I guess we got to absorb more mana before we can go in there. Looks pretty straightforward. Oh, finally got some music. And now it's turned into a platformer. Okay, clearly there's a correct order of how to do this. Okay, it's that. That. So close, man. There we go. What's in here? Oh, it's all golden. Ooh, it's pretty. Am I supposed to do something with this? Nope, cannot. Oh, yes, I can. Oh, I can push it any direction I want. Okay. In that case... Well, let me look around a little bit first to see where I might want to push it to. Because I can only push it, not pull, so... Gotta make sure I only do it once. Doesn't look like I can get up there. Am I trying to get it here? Yeah, I'm trying to get it here. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, what have I got to do to make that happen? Okay. Got quite a ways to push it, y'all. Kind of difficult to navigate, and the music stopped. I guess there's no music when you walk around in real life. Unless you're wearing headphones. Clearly this lady is not, so... I guess the lack of music can be excused, right? Oh, uh-oh. Oh, we're fine, we're fine. Just the camera got glitched out. I got this. Just navigating a little blindly, but we got it, we got it. We're up here. We're good. We're all good. What is this? Can I get back up? Doesn't look like it. Well, that's fine. Can I get in here? Doesn't look like it. It might just be a random house. Oh, well, then again. Another chest. I suppose with another book inside, so we learn a little bit about Mira's backstory. Let me pick it up, please. Hello? Gotta look at just the right angle. There we go. Finally. Sorry I didn't hear what you said, Myra. I've got a lot of things on my mind. It's okay, she replied. Henrik got up from his chair. As delicious as the food is, I'm afraid my appetite has deserted me. He leaned down and kissed Palin's forehead. I'm sorry. Palin took the hand he placed on her shoulder and squeezed it gently. It's okay, Henrik. I'll set aside a plate for you when you want to eat later. Thank you. I'll be in the great room, he said as he walked away. Myra watched him walk away and then turned to her mother. It's the famine, isn't it? That is why Father is always worried. At first it looked like her mother was going to ignore her. Then she sighed. I keep telling your father there's no point in hiding it from you. It seems you're even smarter than he gives you credit for. Myra nodded slowly. I hear people talk about it when I'm in town. They don't seem too worried about it, though. I mean, things will be tight for a while, but we can manage until the next harvest. That's because your father, he likes to hide a lot of things from the people. Myra frowned. Like what? You don't worry about that. Just know that your father is going to find a solution. He always managed to find one so far. No, she shook her head. This is different. He's not just worried. He's scared. Palin stared at her daughter, wondering why she even thought she could deceive her. Myra was like her father in a lot of ways. They were both very smart, very kind-hearted, and very stubborn. If she suspected something, she would start digging and would not stop until she found something. Palin also knew that Myra's love for her father was such that they could not bear to see him unhappy, and while Palin knew there were times when Henrik needed to figure things out on his own, Myra believed no such thing. All right. You cannot tell anyone else what I'm about to tell you, not even your friend Lurvin. Palin raised a hand and stopped Myra's protest. No one outside this family can know what I am about to tell you. Promise me. Seeing how serious her mother was about keeping it a secret made Myra understand just how sensitive what she was about to tell her was. I promise, Myra said solemnly. Palin took a deep breath before she started speaking. You already know how the locusts destroyed most of this year's harvest. We were lucky enough to be able to salvage some of it, but not nearly as much as we needed. Myra looked confused. Are you saying there is going to be a famine? No. It is going to be a tough year, but we have just enough to help us until the next harvest. The problem is that your father could not pay the full tax we owe the Baron. Myra's eyes became wide with fear. She knew about the Baron. Everyone knew about the man who owned the land on which their clan lived, farmed, and hunted. She also understood why her father was worried. Even she was worried. Palin nodded. Your father delivered the tax to the chateau a few days ago. Now we have to wait and see how the Baron is going to respond. She sat down. That is why your father is worried. Myra frowned. So what are you going to do about it? Palin shrugged. Nothing we can do. But wait. Now eat your food before it grows cold. Myra nodded, but as she put food into her mouth and started chewing, she could barely taste what she was eating. Learned a little bit more there. Where did we come from? Where are we going? We hopped down from there, right. So there's only one way to go. This way. We going to get nice pretty music again? Nope, just the sound of the birds. There's another rabbit. then I suppose we go this way. Can we? How do we make that come down? Wait. There's a giant gemstone up there. Can I? There we go. That's how we do it. With the mana from the rabbit. More crows. Another rabbit, too. Crows of Genie. What all trophies do we have? Well, you gotta play through the game twice. And there's a lot of crows to shoo away, so hey! This'll take you a little while to get through. There's a happy ending and an unhappy ending. There's multiple endings. I think this is the first walking simulator with 2 endings. Maybe the unhappy ending is what happens if you play on God mode like I am. Guess we'll find out. Maybe there's a choice you gotta make at some point. Wait, have I been here? I've been here. Oh, that's right. So now I should be able to enter the other portal, which is right over here. Okay. I'm not completely lost. Let's go. Huh. There we go. Once you figure out how to do it, it makes sense, but it's hard to explain. You have to hover your stick, your staff, whatever, over that spot, and then hit your X, or not X button, the square button. Aw, man, beautiful music. This is just a shortcut without having to go through that arch, isn't it? Yep, that's exactly what it is. Okay. Speedrun tactics. Imagine people speedrunning a walking simulator. That's a thought. I'm not speeding through. I'm taking my time. Texture work needs a little work. Just a flat 2D image. Look at that rock formation, though. And hey, there's a looks like a zip line up there. That's kind of cool. Am I going to go up there? Maybe it's just decoration. I'll look around just in case. Does not appear there's a way to get up there from down here, so yeah. Just keep walking. Well, I'll look straight up anyway. Yeah, that's kind of cool to look at. Really gives the sense that people have been here before. But also a very strange sense that I might be the last person on Earth. Oh good, more crows. And this old bridge. Crows of Bottle. Is that the name of the little village here? Oh, that was something scary. That's fine. Okay. Oh, this way. Why is it so hard to grab these books? All I want for Christmas is this book in here. The chest is open and it won't give me. Why is this so difficult? I'll make sure I'm doing this right. This is right. Just gotta get lucky, I guess. For it to recognize I'm looking at the book and not the chest behind it. Why has this gotta be so difficult? I'm going to be here a while, aren't I? I know this is possible. I want to read this. I don't want to just skip it because I can't grab it. I want to see what it says. Finally, there we go. Wow. Oh, man. Well, that was entertaining, if nothing else. Later that night, Myra struggled to find sleep, so she got out of bed and put on her clothes. She was on her way to the porch to gaze at the stars, a practice that usually helped her sleep when she noticed the glow of a lamp in the great room. Myra walked into the great room and found her father sitting cross-legged in front of the altar, his hands clasped in front of him. He turned around when she walked in. "What are you doing up?" he asked her with a small smile. Myra sat down beside him. "I couldn't sleep." He stared at her and then sighed. "Your mother told you, didn't she?" Myra nodded. "You should have told me." Henrik shook his head. "Why? You're just a child." "I am not a child," Myra retorted. "I haven't been a child in a long time." Henrik's lips curved. In a way, Myra was right, but she would always be his child. "It doesn't matter. This is not something for you to worry about. It's my burden to bear. I am the clan chief." "But you don't have to bear it alone. I want to help." Myra hated to see her father looking so worried. She had always been very close to him, and they always did most things together. She was happy when he was happy, and her heart broke when he was unhappy. "Whatever happens, you will still be my favorite person, Father." Just remember, the game started with someone else taunting her. I think he died. And this is like 2 days ago. Henrik didn't say anything, just turned back to stare at the lit candle on the family altar. His hands moved to caress a staff in front of him. It was made of wood with runes carved into it. It had belonged to his family for as long as anyone could remember. The tree from which it had been carved was sacred to their clan, and after thousands of years it still stood strong right in the middle of their land. When times were hard, his people looked to their sacred tree and drew strength from it. Every child born to his people was dedicated to the sacred tree. In some way, it was their connection to the land on which they sought sustenance. And the staff was the symbol of leadership for their clan. Henrik traced the runes of the staff with the pad of his thumb. Before my father died, he gave me this staff and told me that when trouble came, I should trust it to guide me. I've been asking for help for days now, and I still see nothing. He got up and laid the staff across the altar, then stepped down and turned around to Mira. Go and sleep, Mira. Everything will be fine. Promise? Mira asked, trying to keep the fear out of her voice. Henrik nodded without hesitation. I know everything will be fine. Just like the sacred tree, it doesn't matter what the Baron does. We'll still be here, standing by the end of it. Okay. Great amount of faith. Another house up there. Probably can't get to that one. Let me guess, not enough mana? Yep. Gotta find another rabbit. Okay. Do not walk into the water. Hello again. Jump scare. Ugh, hate that. Yeah. Okay, well, I think I can climb back up. I can. So, the rabbit should be accessible somewhere. Back this way, I suppose. Hello again. Well, it's letting me go back this way. Whether that's on purpose or not, I don't know. But I didn't really see any other way to get here, so... Gotta be on the lookout for, like, hidden grottos or something. Like, this, for example. It's a nice looking game. Oh yeah, definitely, Cat Max. It is a walking simulator, but luckily those are nice to look at. Usually. This is a really nice looking game though. Okay, so we can get up here. I wondered. Can we take the zip line? Yes, you can. Oh, there's the rabbit. Okay. Oh, boy. No, we're fine. Okay, there's my mana. Let's go open the portal. We gotta be on the lookout for hidden cavities, crevices, like whatever you want to call it. We gotta find hidden corners of this world in order to properly progress. How are you doing, Cat Max? It's been a while since I've seen you. That's the third time that got me in a row, man. Huh, I wonder what that's about. Just at work, about to be done though. Hey, almost finished with work. Red letter day. When you do work and you almost finish it. That was a stag. Oh, it's the mountain lion again. Run. Oh, good lord. Oh, okay, I get it. Gotta aim for the thing. Got it! Only it took 2 tries. Let's go. Good luck following me up this thing, mountain lion! And if you succeed, you, honestly, I wouldn't even be mad. You would earn the right to eat me at that point. Let's go. Honestly. Personally, I would never trust a bunch of leaves to hold my weight, but what do I know? More crows. Great. Wonder what those carnivorous plants are all about. Are they just for show, or is there a purpose to them? Almost to our next batch of crows. Oh, it took control. That's an eagle. Ooh. And what the? It took an hour to get to the opening title? That's a view, though. Look at that view. I wouldn't doubt that there are some places like in Europe or China or something that looks just like this. Like a little mountain village just right beside a beautiful, majestic range. Just take a moment to look at that. Oh, man. Somebody take a picture of that and put it on a postcard. That's what I say. Absolutely beautiful. There's another rabbit. This is going to open on its own. Called it. Okay, good. No jump scare for me this time. Tutorial complete. That might be it. Yeah, Cat Max. And we got a tiny bit of music to go with the intro. Let's go. Oh, good. Another book is going to take me forever to grab. I'm lucky that I got it so easily the first time I got a book, because if I wasn't able to get it, I would have just assumed that they're unobtainable. I don't know. I don't know which part you got to look at. I don't know which angle you got to look at it at. I don't know how to grab this. I don't have a clue. It just seems to work sometimes. That clicking sound is the sound of me mashing the square button. Trying to grab this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know if there's like a part of the book I gotta look at, if there's an angle I gotta stand on it, if there's a trick. You're supposed to hold it for a certain amount of time. I don't know. I know it is possible. It's just... Are we having fun? Oh, man. I was hoping shaving a haircut would do it. It did not. Do you ever have this kind of trouble picking up a book in real life? Most people with two hands are able to do this, right? A lot of people without two hands are able to do this. What am I missing? Give me the book! This is unbelievable. You guys are seeing this, right? I'm looking right at it. What is it gonna take? I want to read it. Come on, let me read this. Maybe this is what gives you the good ending. Reading all the books, and that's why it's the hardest one to get. This is... I'm not memeing. This is actually not... I'm going to send a message to my bosses about this. Maybe they can reach out to the dev and say, hey, think you could tweak this a little? Okay, back up, try again. What am I missing? There's got to be like a pixel or something that I can... Come on. This is a conspiracy. Is this actually happening? I am trying to pick up this book. I am not leaving this spot until I get this book. Glory, hallelujah! I got it! I have no idea what I did different. We got it! There it is! Tudixo walked into his house and locked the door behind him. Then he took off his cloak and hung it on the hook behind the door. Binel, he called out, as he walked into his house, looking around for his daughter. I'm here, Father. Binel walked out of the kitchen. You're back so early. I was hoping I could be done baking before you returned. Tuxedo moved close to and lowered his face to kiss her cheek with his hands behind his back. Then his face turned sour. Sorry, Binel replied with a giggle. I think I got some flour on my face. Tudixo's scowl turned into a smile. I got you something. What is it? Guess. You remember how disappointed you were last time you got me something and asked me to guess? Tudixo rolled his eyes at his daughter's skepticism. It's going to be different this time, I promise. I'll even wager that you'll love this gift. So guess. Binel cocked her head. Okay. Is it a new dagger? No. A holster for the pistol you bought me last Christmas? Tudixo frowned. No, and why do you think my gift has to do with a weapon? Because that's the only type of gift that makes you excited. All right. This gift is for you. And it's something you've been asking for a very long time. Something you really... Binel gasped. Don't tell me you got the... Father, if this is a prank, I'll be very cross with you. It is not. Tudixo replied as he pulled out the leather-bound book he had been keeping behind him. Binel shrieked as she grabbed the book and flipped it open to confirm it was authentic before letting loose another loud shriek and hugging her father. Thank you so much! He grinned as he hugged her back, elated to see his daughter so happy. When she was but a baby, he had lost his wife in a shipwreck. Tudixo had managed to stay afloat with his baby held up in one hand until the rescue boats arrived. It was why his body had been lost to the ocean forever, and Tudixo had dedicated his entire life to making sure Binel wanted for nothing. She followed him everywhere he went, and was never out of his sight. Even when he went on an assignment, she was by his side. Now that she was older, she preferred to stay back at home. Binel detested violence of any kind, and since he was a mercenary who sometimes had to use violence to get the job done, her desire not to play any part of his work made sense. Binel loved to read, though, something he was sure she got from her mother. He did his best to encourage her passion and always bought books for her, even though he didn't see the point. It is nice to read the words in a book, he would say to Binel when she tried to get him to read a book. But they're not real. Now shoot someone in the knee, or stab a knife through his palm, and you'll most definitely see blood. That is real. As for Binel, she was taught how to handle a weapon. Tudixo trained her to shoot guns, arrows, and even a sword, skills that she insisted she would never need. Everyone knew who her father was, and no one would dare to attack the daughter of Tudixo, the mercenary. Foreshadowing? Okay, spent 5 minutes, more than 5 minutes on that. But we got through it. That's what matters. It just was just there, so I guess we go this way. I wonder if Binel is the girl at the beginning who Mira was hunting down. Hunting down? Well, she was following her, that's for sure. Oh, okay. Wow, these are floating. Interesting. Oh, I see. There's this leafage here. Platforming section. Missed. And now we try again. That wasn't actually so hard. We're all good. Oh, there's a door, and here's a statue right here. What's up with gargoyles? Never understood it. Well, I'm hitting the square button, nothing's happening, so... Okay, we can hold more than one mana. Good to know. Okay, I guess there was a certain order I had to do this then. Oh, did that change which direction this thing was looking? Actually, I don't know. It's hard to tell. Can't go in, so... There must be another gargoyle I've got to start turning or something. That one's turning, and that one's turning. Oh, there's another one here. That's a really weird out-of-place rock. Okay, that's 3. And does that mean this one will start now? It sure does. Here we go. More crows. Crows of Nephes? Okay. Okay, my boss said he's never had a problem with getting the books out of the chest. Maybe I'm doing something wrong then. Maybe a bad angle. Okay, God, here we go again. I'm gonna let him know. I'm doing it right this minute on stream if you want to pop in and see what I'm talking about. I'm going to give him a minute or two to pop in here. Because he needs to see this so he can accurately, figure out what I'm talking about. And I swear, if I get it first try, well, good news. I'm not getting it first try. I'm lucky I got that first book first try, but because everyone after that has been so hard. If I had struggled this much with the first book, I genuinely would have thought that these are unobtainable. For a brief second, I thought I saw something red. Okay. And now I can't pick it up again. What? Are you kidding me? Well, I hope he saw that. That was so strange. Do I have to aim at like the very bottom of it? Is that how it is? I don't know. Anyway. As I sat down to eat dinner, Benel told Tudixo about her day and everything that had happened in his absence. So where did you get the book? She asked in the middle of dinner. I've been looking for it for a long time. Tudixo cleared his throat and lifted his cup of wine to his lips. I bought it from someone on my trip. How much did you pay for it? She looked a little worried. I know how expensive rare books like this can be. A guilty look appeared on Tudixo's face. Don't worry about that. I got it at a discount. A discount? Benel paused, and her jaw slowly dropped. Don't tell me you took it. I didn't take anything, Tudixo said before she finished. I bought it from him fair and square, and at a higher price than it would have been after the fire got to it. Benel glowered at him. So you cheated a poor man out of a rare book. Tudixo sighed. No, I paid a fair price for it, and you can't blame me for the burning part. I was just doing what I was ordered to do, and getting paid for it. Tudixo was slowly getting angry. Benel, we've had this conversation before. I don't have a choice. It's either I do what the Baron orders me to, or we could find ourselves in one of his dungeons. Or maybe worse. The Baron, huh? Interesting. Benel shook her head. You know, I never understood why you decided to become a mercenary. But I told myself it was okay since you mostly went after bandits and highway robbers. But now you're going after good and honest people just because someone pays you to. Benel, Tudixo growled. I wonder what Mother would think if she sees you, what you do now. Tudixo jerked back as if he'd been slapped in the face, pain flashing in his eyes. Why can't you see that I don't have a choice in this matter? The sound of someone knocking at the door prevented Benel from replying. Is it Benel or Benette? Tudixo got up and walked to his door. His heart sank when he saw the messenger standing at the door, dressed in royal colors. Who is it, and what do they want? Benel asked when he returned from answering the door. I've been summoned by the Baron, he replied. I have to leave for the chateau immediately. Benel's face fell, and she looked away from him. Tudixo took a step towards her, but the look on her face drove him back. Turning around, he went to prepare for his trip to the chateau. When he returned, Benel was still sitting at the table, her dinner forgotten in front of her. I'll return as soon as I can, he said to her, even though she had not acknowledged him since. Remember to always keep the doors locked and keep a loaded pistol under your pillow. As he opened the door to leave, Benel jumped up and ran to him. She threw her hands around him and kissed him on his forehead. "Be safe," she said. He nodded, giving her a small smile before stepping out. As he walked away from his daughter, he realized that he could no longer do this. He would have to find a way to stop, even if it meant crossing an ocean that had claimed the love of his life again. He almost turned back to tell Benel the good news. Then he decided there was no need. He would say to her, once he did this one last job for the Baron. He would say to her, once he did his last job for the Baron, he would get his hands dirty this one last time, then never again. Okay. Oh, cool, it's one of these puzzles. That is interesting. What exactly am I trying to line up? I'm trying to line up all of them with each other, right? Looks like it does about 1/6 of a turn at a time. That lines up pretty darn well right there. So let me work on the outside one. That's correct. So I guess I've got to keep rotating them until... There we go. Okay, I figured that might be it. They're trees. Ahem. Okay. I have been advised to ignore the books from here on out, so I'll just focus on the walking. That's a little disappointing, but if it's a bug, then they gotta fix it, so... I actually was really enjoying the mythos of what's going on here. There's some sort of a deep rumbling on the left. Man, imagine walking underneath big, giant stones boulders like this. There's definitely a rumbling of some kind. And that's a hooded skull, I suppose? Let me backtrack here. Ah, good. Glad I did. Nothing else, so let's just go back to the statue. Oh, I can just push this? I can just push that. The more you know. Well, I'm even happier I backtracked now for the rabbit. Because I would have had to do that for this part anyway. Here we go. I wonder what happens now. We gotta save. Part of me is thinking maybe I should stop playing right now, so in case there's a patch between now and Friday, I'll be able to properly play the game on Friday. Like, that is the perfect save point if that's the case, but also I would be ending a lot earlier than usual if I did stop right now. So I think at the very least I'm going to try one more section here. Maybe struggle with the book. Maybe I've got it down pat, though, because I did kind of figure something out there. That when I was looking at the very bottom edge of the chest, that's a gigantic squirrel. Holy. Wow, that was a really big squirrel. I don't know. I'll figure it out. I do want to at least do one more, it looks like. Oh. Great.
Ah! Take this! Die! Die! Take this!
I don't have enough mana? Are you kidding me?
Take that!
I am playing on God mode, so... I still don't have enough mana?
Die!
So I guess it's impossible for me to die, but...
Die!
Absorb it, thank you.
Ah!
Ah.
Take that! Next time, I will drain your spirit away!
Who is that guy? What a weird guy. That was interesting. Glad I turned on God mode though, because I know for a fact he was hitting me. I could feel it in the rumble on the controller. Got some music. Music is always welcome. More crows. Crows of Begins. Oh, please just absorb it. There we go. My goodness. Can't go in. Can go in this way. There's an upstairs too. Is there anything down here? Nope, nothing down here. Guess we go up. Two big beds. How many malice does a man need? Okay, I'll try for just a little while to try and grab this book. On the other hand, sometimes you just get lucky. Tudixo waited for the herald to announce him before stepping into the great hall of the chateau. The Baron was holding court again, and as always, the scene was a cacophony of music, laughter, and noise. Wine flowed freely, and more food was being wasted than had been eaten. The Baron sat on a throne on the dais, and his wife sat next to him. Standing guard behind the throne were 6 mercenaries. Almost every inch of the chateau was patrolled by mercenaries who had been hired to keep the Baron safe. Well, that is a... What in the... Need to send that off to them, too. Anyway, 3 months ago, Cesaron, the Baron's right-hand knight, had gone missing within the palace walls. The disappearance of one of his strongest knights had made the already paranoid Baron even more suspicious, and security around the chateau had been tightened. Tudixo! The Baron waved him forward as soon as he walked in. I've been waiting for you! Baron, Tudixo bowed when he got in front of the dais. My apologies for making you wait so long. I came as fast as I got the message. Did they get the message? The Baron asked Tudixo. Tudixo knew who he was talking about, and he nodded his head. They did, Baron. Just before I left, I saw them already making contributions to pay what is left of the tax they owe. Was this after you burned the house? The Baroness asked with a sparkle in her eyes as she leaned forwards. Was any of them caught in the fire? Is that why they changed their mind so quickly? No, Tudixo shook his head. There was something about the Baroness that unnerved him. For a man who had fought in wars and faced death numerous times, there was still something about the Baroness that scared him, even though he could never say why. They tried to raise the money before I lit the match, Tudixo continued his report. Alas, they could not meet up with their debt in such a short time. The Baron frowned. You were sent there to send a message, not to give them the grace of clearing their debt. Tudixo nodded. I understand, my lord. I only thought I'd see if I could collect the debt owed and save the Baron the stress of having to send someone else to collect the tributes they owed. The Baroness glared at him. It is not your place to presume to know what would make the Baron happy. You should be thrown in jail for such brazen behavior. Tudixo quickly bowed his head. I apologize for overstepping my bounds, my lady. I only thought to show my dedication. Leave him alone, the Baron said to his wife. Tudixo is one of my most loyal mercenaries. He does what he's told and asks no question. Also, I can trust him not to cheat on me like some of the others. Into that book. Okay. I do not remember which way I came from. I think I came from the other way, so let's go this way. Yep, that's correct. Okay. Yeah, okay. I'll make this my final section that I complete, and then I'll be back on Friday. Cool. So it's a bunch of images from what we just read. Waiting for that save icon to show up. Just did. Perfect. Quit to menu. Perfect. So that was the Redress of Mira, which is coming out later this week on PlayStation and Xbox. I assume I'll be continuing on Friday. Hopefully there will be a proper fix for what we've seen, but regardless, I've actually been enjoying this game a lot, so I hope that the one or two issues that we've seen, they can fix with a simple patch. All right. Thank you to General Tacticus and Cap Max Gaming for being here. Shout out to the lurkers as well. On behalf of East Asia Soft, I have been Skull. Have yourselves a great day and a great week, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.